Welcome to Mystic Realms Recap. Please like, share, and subscribe. Enjoy today's episode.
China, East China Sea, a certain military area. Boom. There was a crisp sound. The office of the highest commander of the military region was smashed open. A man in military uniform with a lot of medals hanging on his shoulder, panting heavily, holding a large pile of documents in his hand. Chief, no, okay. The big thing is not good. Jing Chuan, how many times have I told you? And now your position is one of the best here. No matter what, you have to be prudent. What does it look like in a panic? Even if something happens, you should speak slowly and stay calm. At the office desk, Su Zhonghua was correcting a document, frowning and reprimanding coldly. But the man who rushed into the office didn't seem to hear the chief's words at all. His voice was intermittent and incoherent. The chief is big. Something has happened. Something has happened. According to our agents, from the island country, accurate information, there are mutant beasts appearing in the East and the East Sea. Li Zhonghua frowned. He stood up, ready to blast Jing Chuan out. But after listening to the whole content and reacting to it, his expression suddenly changed. What? Mutant beast? East China Sea? Standing up from the seat, the tone was all shock and horror. Li Zhonghua knew something about mutant beasts. When he went to the Sahara Desert to perform a mission, many soldiers in his military district died. Later, many animated pictures were published on the internet. The rumors were finally refuted. But Li Zhonghua knew very well that all those animated pictures were real, and they really couldn't be real. But those mutant beasts, haven't they all been blown to ashes by nuclear bombs? Why does it still appear? Head. Chief, I'll tell you. I can't tell you clearly. Jing Chuan could no longer control the relationship between superiors and subordinates. Holding the pile of materials in his arms, and while talking tremblingly, he directly put all the materials on Li Zhonghua's desk. The data are all clear pictures. In the first photo, an island nation's thunder missile rushed towards the island nation's warship. At the very top of the missile, there was a small silver-white snake with cold eyes. In the second photo, the island nation's 8 annihilation missiles exploded in the air. In the third photo, Donghe City, there are fragments of battleships and warships everywhere, densely mutated pythons, lions, monkeys, and other creatures madly hunting down the island soldiers. The fourth, fifth, there are so many photos. Although there is no dynamic picture, Li Zhonghua automatically fills in the whole process in his mind after reading these photos. His eyes widened, his mouth opened wide, and the hand holding the photo trembled crazily, no longer the calmness he had before. Jing Chuan, what is going on? Call. More than 10 seconds passed before Li Zhonghua took a deep breath, tried to calm down, and shouted at Jing Chuan, while his eyes like eagles were full of doubts. This information is terrible. How can the island country be so easy to leak? Even an agent would not be so fast. Jing Chuan's body trembled suddenly. He naturally knew what the chief's words meant. Chief, I don't know either. This information is really sent back by our secret agents lurking outside, but it's not from the agents in the island country, but from the US. Specifically why this is the case, I do not know either. Jing Chuan's face was bitter, and his voice still couldn't calm down. But after Li Zhonghua listened, his pupils shrank and his voice became deeper and deeper. Are you sure? Okay. Jing Chuan nodded heavily. Chief, I'm sure that the agent has always been in one-line contact with me. When I first received this information, I also found it unbelievable. Now that the island nation knew it, it should take the initiative to tell us that it was, but they spread the news to the West. And then we obtained it. Although there were some twists and turns, at least the intelligence was accurate. Asshole. Damn islander. Li Zhonghua took a deep breath and yelled directly. Chief, is this? Jing Chuan became more confused. If it's correct, the mutant beasts have entered the East China Sea, and the island nation knows the news, but he leaked the incident to the West. What is the purpose? Very simple. He wants to borrow the power of the West to kill them. Mutated beasts entered our country. But the West is not stupid. Under the threat of nuclear weapons, they know what to do. So they can leak information to our agents so easily, but it is definitely not pure, if it is correct. If this is the case, it can be regarded as deliberately provoking a conflict between us and the island country. Li Zhonghua deserves to be able to achieve the position of head, and he can see the essence of the matter almost at a glance. After Jing Chuan heard it, he was shocked. Then, Chief, what shall we do next? This time the matter is too serious. I know very little about the mutant beast group. I must report it to the superior immediately. Li Zhonghua exhaled a deep breath before continuing. Before the exact answer is given above, only you and I know about this matter in the entire military area. It must be kept strictly confidential, understand? Snapped. After hearing this, Jing Chuan immediately stood at attention, snapped his feet together, and put on a standard military salute. Yes, the chief. Li Zhonghua nodded. The body still trembled slightly. Stepping forward, when passing by Jing Chuan, he seemed to inadvertently stretch out his hand and pat Jing Chuan's shoulder. If someone leaks the secret, you should know what to do. After speaking, he left towards the office door. Jing Chuan's complexion changed wildly. I immediately thought of a person in my mind. In addition to himself and Chief Li Zhonghua, the agent also knew the secret. As for Li Zhonghua, quickly prepare the car. When the car drove to the gate of the military area, he unconsciously looked through the window of the car and looked at the blue sky with white clouds, with a bit of confusion and worry in his eyes. It's been 5,000 years. This is the first time. It is even more terrifying than World War II. It is the biggest crisis in Huaxia State's history. How can such a beautiful sky change as it changes? Li Zhonghua personally reported to his superiors. The island country and the United States have all quietly set their sights on the East China Sea of China. Mutant beasts have always been active in the Atlantic Ocean and the Sahara Desert before. This is the first time to take the initiative to travel to the human world. China is the most populous country in the world. How much will the mutant beasts that devour humans enter this country without pressure? Shock? This point, they are all looking forward to it. At this moment, in the East China Sea, Yibei locked onto a sandy beach and moved on. Chijiao Port is one of the largest beaches in Donghai City. There is a prosperous business circle around. The transportation is convenient, and there are many inflatable rock climbers built on the sea. Countless young men and women are sweating and having fun here. There is a sandy beach near the rock climbing. Girls in bikinis, cute little loli, and big guys with naked arms and are enjoying the sun. Wow! Yibei's body is currently in its smallest state. The silver-white body moved fast on the beach coastline, gradually less than 500 meters away from the beach. Half of his head was exposed. Dark and deep eyes just can see everything on this beach. Familiar scenery. Familiar buildings. There is even a familiar sea breeze. Just a year ago, he had brought Guyu here with Yibei, but a year later, the situation was completely different. Everything had undergone tremendous changes. When viewing the scene here with a different body, he was very emotional. Complex. On the coastline, in addition to a large number of cruise ships, far away, large and small cargo ships are constantly coming and going, delivering the freshest blood for the city and ensuring the prosperity of Donghai City. Wow! However, just as Yibei popped his head and looked at Donghai City a little lost, a cruise ship passed by. On the deck of the cruise ship, there stood a cute little girl, wearing a white skirt, a single ponytail, and lying on the guardrail. Those big eyes just spotted the figure of Yibei emerging from the water. Her mouth was loud. Screamed, "Dad! Look, there is a dragon on the sea. A little white dragon." The middle-aged man in casual clothes behind the little girl raised his head slightly. The white dragon? Where? Where was it just now? The little girl bulged her cheeks and pointed to the sea, but now she has run away. When I said this, there was a bit of regret and disappointment on his face. It made this little girl look more cute. Wow! The middle-aged man smiled faintly. His gaze did not stop on the sea at all. He hugged the little girl up with a splash. His face was full of spoiling. The white dragon. This is the patron saint of our country, which can be seen in legend. It can bring good luck. A girl will become the most charming angel. My daughter is really blessed by heaven. The girl who was picked up was not happy after listening, but kept shaking her head. Dad, It doesn't have to be a dragon. I have seen it on TV. Dragons have horns, but they don't have horns. But the skin looks good. It looks silvery white. Silver? Like a dragon? The middle-aged man was taken aback for a moment, and a look of horror appeared directly on his face. How big is it? Describe it. Also, is it really silvery white? The little girl thought for a while and opened her arms. It's probably this long. It's silver and white, and I saw it spit out a red tongue, and those eyes are still staring at me. Silver white, about a meter long, red tongue? The middle-aged man stared, hesitated for about 2 seconds before he shook his head vigorously. Xiao AI, have you been sneaking online to watch videos recently? You must have seen the pictures of the Sahara event that is about to be shot, and now the movie promotion is becoming more and more unscrupulous. Xiao AI, let me tell you, in this world, there will be no dragons. Those are just legends. If you are right, you should be talking about a snake, and if it is a snake, the silver white will not appear in the sea because they can't swim at all. After listening, the little girl shook her head vigorously and insisted, Dad, you taught me that you are not allowed to lie. I really saw it just now. I clearly didn't lie. The middle-aged man laughed at this moment. Xiao AI. It's more than 500 meters away from the beach, and all the surrounding areas have been cleaned by professionals. If there were snakes, they would have been dealt with long ago. So it must be you just now. I'm wrong. Maybe it's just a hairtail, or maybe it's just a white plastic bag floating in the sea. But if it's a hairtail, it's white, very similar to what you said. But, Dad, I have read in the book that hairtail does not swim to the surface. The little girl asked rhetorically. The middle-aged man's complexion turned slightly red. Hairtail does not appear on the sea, so I think it may be a plastic bag lost by some unscrupulous tourists. Shall I remember? You must be a person who cares for the environment in the future. Otherwise, making on the sea will easily cause trouble to other people, and it will also be irresponsible to all mankind. After listening, the little girl raised her brows lightly and her complexion was pink. She was sure that she had indeed seen a silver-white creature just now. There was absolutely nothing wrong with it, and her dark eyes are still fresh in her memory. But she couldn't convince her father at all now. Whoosh whoosh. Yibei dived more than 20 meters underwater and continued to swim towards the beach with his body swish. I didn't expect to be discovered so soon, but fortunately, the island nation's fleet was completely destroyed in the East China Sea before. Presumably now the high levels of the world have already known the news of my return. But in the East China Sea, even no matter how crazy they are, they don't have the guts to mess around in such a place. This time, they just have the strongest posture. Chi-Chi. While swimming, Yibei spit out Shinzi and squinted his eyes. 10 seconds later, he has sneaked into the inflatable rock climber. When lurking in the water, no tourists discovered the existence of Yibei. Humans, in some respects, are really inferior to ordinary beasts, and they don't even have a premonition that a crisis is coming. Chi-Chi. Yibei spit out the letter. Boom. The next moment, the sharp teeth, directly on the inflatable rock climbing. A huge explosion sounded in the sea. Ah! What's the matter, everyone? Run away. The inflatable rock climbing exploded. Come on, where's the rescuer? Damn it, what junk product? There was an uproar at the scene. The tourists next to the rock climber screamed and rushed towards the beach, roaring and cursing, and even some women and children were ruthlessly thrown behind and trampled. The so-called gentleman's demeanor, fully expressed at this moment. Chi-Chi. Seeing these human beings fleeing from wasteland and the scene of crazily trampling, Yibei's eyes became more and more indifferent. Call. Death Forest. Open it. The idea was conveyed, and a spatial crack appeared in the sea in an instant. Wow. Immediately afterwards, the mutant reticulated python, mutant monkey, blood python, lion, and tiger rushed out of the crack frantically and then rushed toward the beach. Rumble. There are too many mutant beasts rushed out of the death forest, including ordinary beasts. The total number exceeds 80,000. When they appeared, the sea in the inflatable rock climbing place seemed to boil, and the white waves kept surging around, and the sound of rumbling continued. Around. Because of the explosion, the tourists were originally chaotic. When a large number of mutant beasts appeared, the tourists who were behind were shocked at first. Snakes, snakes, a lot of snakes, they all came out of inflatable rock climbing. An old man's legs trembled, his eyes were filled with great fear, his body froze in place, without any strength to move, and his mouth kept exclaiming, "Why? How is it possible?" Behind the old man was a man wearing white beach pants with his mouth wide open. After saying this, his body immediately burst into a huge force. "Old thing, get out." Boom. The huge force hit the old man directly. The old man couldn't react at all, so he fell into the sea. Ah! Not far away, a beautiful woman in a bikini screamed constantly. This voice was more intense than anything that she did at night. And a young man standing next to him, who was 18 or 9 years old, swallowed frantically. When he saw a mutant reticulated python rushing towards him, the young man suddenly stretched out his hand and grabbed the beautiful woman on the underwear strap. Tear. Tugged hard. "It's annoying, Lao Tzu. You go to for Lao Tzu." Swearing. Pulling the beauty behind her and sending it to the mutant reticulated python's mouth, shaking her body, she continued to rush towards the beach. Confusion. Scream. If the explosion of inflatable rock climbing only caused some confusion, then, when the mutant beasts appeared, all the humans here have fully displayed their humanity. The young man pulled the old man behind. The more powerful woman brutally knocked the thinner woman to the ground to buy more time to escape. Even some thin women stumbled some children who were in front of them. Who? Yi Bei was entrenched in the sea, watching the mutant beasts march forward, and the mental power domain completely covered the entire beach. When he saw such conditions, his eyes were extremely cold. When the real death comes, human beings will only look so unbearable. Chi-Chi. The scarlet letter spit out. Listen well, everyone. The first step is to occupy all of this beach, and then gather them together, waiting for my order. As for the humans here, you can deal with them at will. There was a voice without emotion. It is undeniable that many humans here are innocent. However, 100 nuclear bombs were dropped directly in the Sahara Desert, completely obliterating Yi Bei's remaining humanity, and coupled with this crazy scene at the scene, it directly caused Yi Bei to kill. Yes, King.
Yes. Yes.
At this time, the most excited is the mutant beast group. The Golden Lion, Wang Wan, and countless mutant beasts have waited too long. Finally have the opportunity to come to the human world, and the humans in front of them all become the most delicious food in their eyes. Those tall and magical buildings in front of them filled them with yearning. When she shouted, her voice was loud and resounding continuously over the entire beach, like a rainbow. Those human beings who flee heard the countless mutant beasts speak neat English and became more frightened, their complexion pale, facing the threat of death. Many people were directly weakened, and many people burst out of extreme strength. The speed of evasion is faster. Hi, it's a sea monster. The must be angry, help. I don't want to die. No, don't kill me. Asshole, beast. I am not reconciled. Why should I be killed by this kind of thing? Let it go, let me go. I can give you whatever you want. Money, girl. I'm very rich, very rich. The sound is getting chaotic. Whoosh. And Yi Bei didn't hesitate anymore at this time. The muscles on his body twitched, exploding with great strength, and he quickly rushed towards the direction of the fleeing crowd. Golyulu. A young man who stepped on the old man with his foot was swallowed by Yi Bei. Bright red blood sprayed wantonly. Congratulations to the host for successfully devouring a human and gaining 10,000 evolution points. The sound of the system sounded, with an extremely bewitching feeling, obviously inducing Yi Bei to continue devouring it frantically. Let me go, Dad. I'm looking for my dad. Ahead, a man in his 40s, pinching a 12-year-old boy by the neck and forcibly pushing him behind him. The boy screamed and struggled desperately. Whoosh! Yi Bei turned into a silver-white lightning and rushed directly at the man in his 40s. Puff! The sharp spine chopped off the man's neck with a puff, and blood spurted from the neck like a column of water. "Help, help." And the boy who had just been rescued turned a little girl who was less than 10 years old with tears to his side in the sea, with endless fear in his eyes, screaming for help and frantically trying to escape. Humanity. Chi-Chi. The scarlet letter spit out. Without any hesitation, moving forward, Shinzi rolled, and another human was caught in his mouth. Congratulations to the host for successfully devouring a human and gaining 10,000 evolution points. The sound of the system is continuous. 3 minutes ago, the beach, which was full of joy and full of happy smiles, was completely at this moment. The mutant beasts were preying wildly. The bright red blood was sprinkled on the sand, and even the sea water was dyed red, and the strong smell of blood in the air was so strong that it could not be removed. Wow! And at this moment, a cruise ship was breaking through the sea 500 meters away and returning to the beach with a splash. On the deck, standing still is the extremely cute girl with a single ponytail, Xiao Ai, next to his father. However, as the cruise ship gets closer and closer to the beach, the humans on the cruise ship all realize that something is wrong. "Dad, Daddy, look at it, it's the silver-white dragon. I see it again." The smell of blood lasts for a long time. The screams continued for a moment. The little girl's eyes were very sharp. When faced with this kind of scene, she did not fear the terrifying environment around her. Instead, she set her gaze on Yibei's body and pulled the corner of her father's clothes and mouth. Li yelled loudly, as if to prove that what he had said before was the truth, and did not lie at all. As for the father standing next to her, his face was pale, his eyes widened, his body trembled crazily, and he couldn't say a word. Wow! The cruise ship is moving on. The helmsman in the cockpit looked at the scene in front of him. He had completely lost consciousness. He only felt his head was blank, and he didn't even react. At this time, the cruise ship should be moved back quickly. Dad, look at it." On the deck of the cruise ship, only the girl named Xiao Ai, with a pure voice, pointed to the front and even tiptoed. The other tourists were too scared to say a word. "Change, this is the mutant beast group. All the previous news is true. Yes, the government concealed us. Damn. We are all going to die." Faced with Xiao Ai's voice, her father finally reacted slowly. His voice trembled, and his speech was uncomfortable, and the most terrifying thing came to mind in his head. Huh. At this moment, Yibei turned his head back. Under the mental power domain, all the conditions on the cruise ship were completely controlled by Yibei. Chi-Chi. The scarlet letter was spitting out. Because of the crazy killing just now, a trace of blood appeared in those eyes, but at this time, the deep darkness was restored again. "It's them again. I've ignored it once before, and I didn't expect to come back." Wow! The voice fell, and Yibei rushed towards the cruise ship. 3 seconds later, snapped. Yibei's miniaturized body fell directly on the deck of the cruise ship. Wow! After seeing Yibei, the tourists on this cruise ship all backed madly. Some people even fell directly on the ground with their feet on the ground. When they looked at Yibei, their eyes were full of fear. On the contrary, Xiao Ai's father, out of fear, picked up a chair next to him and protected Xiao Ai behind him. And Xiao Ai turned his head from time to time, secretly looking at Yibei. Huh! The atmosphere is depressed, and there is a sense of urgency in the air. Suddenly, a sailor in uniform screamed in his mouth, carrying an electric baton in his hand, and boldly rushed towards Yibei. "Asshole, this is a cruise ship. Get out of here. Open. Believe it or not, I made you a soup." Soup? When I rushed quickly, my mouth still made such a curse. Don't tell me. Many tourists who were frightened and silly heard the sailor's words, all came back to their senses. Don't be afraid of everyone. It's just a white snake. So many of us. Kill him. You must kill him. Let's go together. Let the cruise ship rewind. Don't move forward. Now there is only this snake. Let's kill him. The tourists yelled, their voices trembling, but their aura was missing. Bullying the weak. the law of the jungle. When facing a powerful enemy, he was scared to speak on the spot. While facing a weaker creature, he showed all his brutal mentality, as if his life was worthless. What a group of innocent guys. Chi-Chi. Yi-Bei was entrenched on the deck and did not move. Seeing this group of humans rushing over, he vomited a letter in a low voice. Xiao Ai, who was not far away, exclaimed again, "Dad, Dad." This silver-white little dragon spoke just now. I heard it speak English, which is the same as in many cartoons. Puff, puff. It's just that Xiao Ai's voice just fell. An extremely terrifying scene appeared in front of her. Yi-Bei, who was originally only 1 meter long, faced a large group of humans with weapons and did not dodge. Instead, at the last moment, the body relied on a powerful force to directly rise into the air. On the back, the sharp spines spread out, and then the body rotated in the air. In the next second, all the humans who approached were always cut in half, like cutting vegetables. Puff, puff sound kept resounding. Red, white, and yellow splashed all over the floor. The smell of blood and stench immediately filled the entire yacht. Xiao Ai's father was holding a chair, his hand trembling extremely. Wow! The scene in front of him made him totally unbearable anymore, and he retched on the spot and immediately turned around and tightly covered Xiao Ai's eyes with his other hand. On the yacht, some other tourists wanted to attack Yi-Bei just now, but at this moment, they all stopped, their eyes flickering, and many people even stepped back desperately for fear of attracting Yi-Bei's attention. Chi-Chi, when you have enough power, you will definitely kill me without hesitation. Maybe I just appeared here and didn't pose any threat to you. Humans, that's it. And now you only feel the power of my strength, and you are afraid. Even hiding behind, to be honest, at this point, humans really disappoint me. Just now, many people were killed, but for Yi-Bei, this had become a habit. His eyes swept across the human beings who were still alive one by one, vomiting the letter, and the voice was extremely cold. There is a common language for animals. Yi-Bei's words were directly transformed into extremely clear Chinese language, which resounded in the minds of every living human. But these living humans did not understand the meaning of Yi-Bei dialect at all. Chi-Chi, Chi-Chi. On the contrary, each of them opened their eyes wide, and their pupils were all bloody. Snake. Did the snake speak? It's talking, monster, monster. It's a lie. All of it is a lie. It has been said that animals are not allowed to become fines after the founding of the People's Republic of China. Why does this snake speak? Some people simply couldn't accept this fact, thumping, plopping, kneeling on the ground, staring blankly, and constantly making such noises in their mouths. There are also some people who are still retreating frantically, thinking that hiding in the yacht cabin will be temporarily safe. The little sigh with his mouth covered, his voice kept constantly, as if he wanted to speak. Zizi. Yi-Bei moved. The silver-white body moved slowly on the deck. The body slashed through the plasma, leaving dazzling blood marks. When Xiao Ai passed by with her father, Yi-Bei paused for a while. He was obviously indifferent to the extreme, but there was always such a throbbing in the deepest part of his heart. Doubt. Thinking. At a loss. Emotions become extremely complicated. Finally, he slowly moved away from the girl, focusing all his eyes on the other tourists. Click, click. The 1 meter-long body, at this moment, directly grew crazily at a speed visible to the naked eye. 5 meters. 10 meters. 50 meters. When it reached 50 meters, the huge body directly entangled the entire yacht, and the sound of clicks and clicks continued. The yacht made of steel was actually being squeezed into a ball under this kind of power. The breath of death spread unscrupulously in the air. To kill or not to kill, to eat or not to eat, humanity, the virgin, pure. Little girl, I am very entangled. Squeak. Click, click. The huge luxury cruise ship, under Yi-Bei's entanglement, kept making such noises. The humans who had been hiding in the cabin before had no time to escape. Under this powerful force, the cabin that was directly squeezed together was turned into flesh. Jump, Jump down. Damn, this guy can grow bigger. I remember, mutant beasts. These are the mutant beasts mentioned in the news more than 3 months ago. Plop, plop. Many of the human beings outside have chosen to jump into the sea. At the same time, a very small number of human beings finally understand what they are facing when facing this death threat, but it is too late now. All around the beach are densely packed mutant beasts. Puff, puff. Without exception, all the humans who jumped into the sea were immediately torn to pieces by the mutant beasts at the moment they fell into the water. Daddy. Xiao AI tightly grasped the guardrail with his hands. His eyes were still very simple, watching the yacht sinking a little bit, and then seeing the tourists who were together, being swallowed by mutant beasts, and the bright red blood stained the sea. With red and the rich smell in the air, her eyes finally started to change a little bit. Simple. Shock. Incredible. Fear. Trembling. To the final anger and hatred. These emotions were mixed together, and my mouth began to murmur and call Dad. Xiao AI, hold on to this guardrail. Don't let go. Wait for me. When the middle-aged man next to him was squeezed continuously as the yacht was entangled, his body staggered on the deck, picked up an electric baton from the ground, bravely pressed the switch, and turned his body huge. Huazi Bei drew it over. Zzz. The electric baton releases a high voltage. The bursting sparks are constantly released. Okay, of course, this voltage has no effect on Yi Bei, but the faint numbness can still be felt by Yi Bei. Under the realm of spiritual power, what Xiaoai's father did was all in Yi Bei's eyes. Similarly, Xiao AI's eyes that had gone from simple to angry were also clearly seen by Yi Bei. It's true that the minds of non-my races must be different. There is nothing wrong with this. Even simple creatures can quickly transform. Humans, mutant beasts. There is no such thing as peace. Roar. A roar broke out in his mouth. Booming. In the next moment, the strength of the body increased. Under this terrible force, the entire yacht blasted directly into a pile of debris. Golyulu. The scarlet letter was rolled, and the man holding the electric baton was swallowed in one bite, becoming a trace of pure energy flowing in Yi Bei's body, without any resistance. Dad. The girl Xiaoai yelled. Her hand holding onto the guardrail suddenly loosened, and she fell directly into the sea. On the beach, the humans here are too weak. The vast majority of mutant beasts rushing out of the death forest don't need to maximize their size at all. When facing these humans, they are completely crushing. 3 minutes later, the entire beach was completely cleaned up. Wow! The mutant beasts all gathered, the smell of blood in the air, as if a stimulant was waiting on the beach. The eyes were all shining, waiting for Yi Bei's next order. On the other side, Kijiaging Security Office. When an unprecedented accident happened here. In the surveillance room, the door was tightly locked. The 3 security guards wore crooked hats and leaned on their chairs to sleep. Because of the constant screams outside, one of the security guards slowly opened his eyes and cursed in his mouth. It's so annoying. As a security guard, you don't have to be leisurely, playing in the water on the beach. You can make such a cry, and there are no dead people. However, when the security guard opened his eyes and saw the monitor screen, he was stunned. Mouth open, staring eyes wide. The body trembled. His face was pale. Xiao Fan, Qin Feng, you guys, wake up quickly, get up quickly. Something big happened. Finally, the latest security guard who woke up kicked the other 2 security guards with his feet, shaking his voice, rubbing his eyes vigorously, thinking that he might still be dreaming. Xiao Fan turned over and continued to sleep, muttering, Zhou Xian, are you crazy? This is Donghai City. What can happen to me? Don't affect my sleep, just do what I should do. Instead, Chun Feng rolled over, rubbed his eyes, and looked at Zhou Xian. He found that Zhou Xian's expression was very wrong, and immediately turned his attention to the surveillance video. With a look of horror, cold sweat on his body, and his tone became unfavorable. What about people? What about the tourists on the beach? And what are those? Snakes? Monsters? Zhou Xian, no, it's not just snakes. I also saw some cats, even dogs. My God. All those tourists have changed and become animals? I must be dreaming. Huh. The conversation between the two was very loud. Until this time, Xiao Fan opened his eyes in dissatisfaction. The big surveillance screen in front of him showed that eBay destroyed a cruise ship. The 50-meter-long silver-white body cut through the waves, rushing towards the beach, and on the beach, those tourists are no longer a single one, replaced by all kinds of beasts. At this time, Xiao Fan's drowsiness disappeared, and his mouth was held back for a long time. I want to know now, where are the tourists on this beach? His voice trembled, just like Qin Feng and Zhou Xian, hard. Rubbing his eyes, I feel that this scene is too incredible. Wow. However, just when the three of them were completely stunned, a speedboat rushed out of the sea. On the speedboat were 5 men, wearing dark clothes and carrying a lot of weapons. Imposing. When faced with a large number of mutant beasts, these guys did not have any fear at all. On Yi Bei's side, when he found a speedboat suddenly broke into his domain, his eyes flashed with cold. Interesting. Where did these 5 humans come from confidently rushing over? Chi spit a scarlet letter. Yi Bei's huge body dived directly into the sea. After so many experiences with the kind of humans who actively come to make trouble, he will never be polite. The food delivered to the door is wasted if he doesn't eat it. On the sea stained red with blood, a used speedboat rides the wind and waves. Baldwin was holding the binoculars, standing on the bow. All his eyes were excited. Finally found. Guys, this time we are developed. The task is very simple. Any mutant beast genes will do, but the bonus is 10 million US dollars. Wow. As soon as he finished speaking, he slapped the submachine gun on his waist and held it in his hand. The speedboat space is not very large. The eyes of the other 4 were also filled with excitement. All of them were mercenaries under Patwin, and they were also a small and prestigious killer team in the world. Guys, keep going. The target has been locked, everyone is ready to have weapons, and after finishing the ticket, we will directly grab the ship and enter the high seas. Our mission in China is overfulfilled. Baldwin's voice just fell. The other 4 people on the speedboat couldn't help but cheered and took up their weapons. They have been performing assassination missions all this time, and the mission was finally completed a few hours ago. However, because of this mission, they have been lurking in China for almost half a year. They knew very little about the mutant beasts. After the mission was completed, they entered the underground trading website, and they happened to see someone release the latest mission, and the task was just to get a bit of mutant beast gene and pay 10 million US dollars. So this group of guys took the task without thinking and rushed to the beach side as soon as possible. Guys, I repeat it again. This mission is to obtain mutant beast genes, which means that even a small piece of meat will be completed. Of course, in the process, everyone can unscrupulously discover this period of time. Repression, it won't be a problem to blow up all the mutant beasts. After listening to this, standing behind, a very sturdy mercenary named Benson said, "Boss, those people who get the mutant beast gene can exchange $10 million. Why don't we hunt more mutant beasts? Installed dozens of times separately, and after the task is completed, you can get a sale in the underground world. Maybe you can make a big profit." Patwin turned his head and glanced at Benson. "This note is very good. I am afraid that no one will buy it." Borg carried the submachine gun and raised his hand. "Boss, I have a question. There are so many mutant beasts and many strange snakes. The taste must be very good. After killing them, you can cut off a few pieces of meat. Do you eat? During this period of time, I'm almost hungry and thin when I perform tasks." Patwin grinned and said, "I have no objection. I'm afraid this thing is poisonous." The other 2 mercenaries, Burton and Blair, couldn't help but laugh at this moment. On the speedboat, the atmosphere of this mercenary team was very relaxed, completely unaware that they were the ones who were really hunted. 5 seconds later, "I heard that you were going to treat me as food?" Just when this mercenary team approached the beach less than 200 meters and felt that the mission would be completed soon, a cold voice suddenly rang in the ears of the 5 mercenaries. Who is talking?" A hint of horror flashed in the eyes of Baiduan, who was standing on the bow. Isn't it a mutant beast? No, there is someone in the water, Benson said. Borg shook his head vigorously. Didn't everyone find something wrong? The sea water here is dark red, and all the front is mutant beasts. There are no tourists. Damn it. It seems something is really wrong. The mutant beasts didn't run at all. They were all waiting for us. Borg said. Shut up all to me. Baldwin's complexion became more and more ugly. Who is talking? Get out of here. The voice just fell. An icy breath struck the speedboat. The 5 mercenaries standing on it only felt cold behind their backs. Rumble. The sea in front of the speedboat was constantly surging, and the rumbling sound continued. Da-da-da. Although there was something wrong with the atmosphere, the 5 people on the speedboat unanimously raised their submachine guns, pressed the trigger violently, and fired at the surging water. But at this moment, a scarlet letter appeared quietly behind the speedboat. Huh. When the letter was rolled, Burton and Blair, who stood behind the speedboat, had no chance to react. They screamed and were dragged into the sea, becoming the fresh food in Yi-Bei's mouth. Benson yelled at this time. No, the monster is behind us. Burton and Blair have been taken into the sea by him. God, what the is it? Almost just in the blink of an eye, 2 teammates had an accident. You know, they are always on the verge of death, and I don't know how many times they have rushed through them. But at this moment, the remaining 3 people all have a shuddering feeling. The bodies lean together quickly, their eyes constantly scanning the sea. And in the security department in Qijiagang, Xiao Fan, Qin Feng, and Zhou Xian can see the whole process very clearly through surveillance video. Around the speedboat, the sea churned. A huge creature shuttled through it. The bullet from the submachine gun could not pose any threat to this creature. Zhou Xian shivered. Qin Feng, you pinch me. I must be dreaming. Snapped. Qin Feng didn't try to pinch, but with full strength, he slapped Zhou Xian's face severely. There was a crisp sound. It hurts, it hurts. Is this really true? Zhou Xian shouted. Qin Feng also covered his palms. My hands are also very numb. Soon. Something has happened. Please call them to report. Just as the security department was in chaos, Xiao Fan yelled in horror. Quick, look, the monster has appeared again, and the people on the speedboat, all will be finished. Huh. The sound just fell. Qin Feng and Zhou Xian immediately focused their attention on the surveillance video again, and at the same time began to call with trembling hands, wanting to get in touch with their superiors and report the situation here. Next to the speedboat. After devouring the 2 mercenaries in one bite, Yi-Bei didn't hesitate anymore. Rumble. The 50-meter-long body rushed out of the sea. Half of the body is entangled. The other half stands up. The silver-white body adhered to the sea water and looked radiant under the sun. But the terrible breath of death was even worse. Baldwin, Benson, and Borg were holding submachine guns, unable to use any more power. Mutated beast. Is this a mutant beast? Damn. The guy who posted the task is deliberately cheating us. Fear. Shocked. There are endless regrets. Crazy emerged in the minds of these 3 people. Who? But at this time, Yi-Bei had already opened his mouth wide, showing 2 rows of sharp fangs and a pair of long fangs, and rushed towards the 3 mercenaries. What? The screams resounded constantly along with the waves. Almost in the blink of an eye, this team of mercenaries was completely swallowed up, and even at the moment of death, none of them understood what was going on. After solving this mercenary team, Yi-Bei shook his body and slapped him on the speedboat. Boom. The speedboat exploded on the sea, and the flames splashed. In such a scene, Xiao Fan and the 3 security guards, all in cold sweat, with eyes widened, originally wanted to make a call to report to their superiors, but the hand holding the phone couldn't help it. Of course. There is no need for these 3 security guards to report to such a big event in Qijiao Port, as they already know everything about it. After the mutant beasts appeared on the beach, the entire Donghai city was immediately under martial law. Countless police cars clear the way. The army of Huaxia Kingdom rushed toward this side even more quickly. Zizi. Yi-Bei moved very fast, and in the blink of an eye, he came to the beach and his body became the smallest form. King, king, king. Golden Lion, Wang Wan, Chunhua Qiuyue, looking for joy. When they saw Yi Bei coming over, they surrounded him with excitement. Their voice was quite loud, and the feeling of expectation in their eyes was not diminished at all. If it is correct, our whereabouts have been exposed during the battle with the island fleet in the East China Sea before, and humans have discovered us long ago. And now there is such a big movement, it must be hidden. Chi-Chi. The scarlet letter spit out, and Yi Bei's gaze swept across these mutant beasts. But don't worry, this is Donghai City, one of the largest cities in mankind. In this place, they will never release mass destruction. Power weapons. Roar. The golden lion next to him opened his mouth at the moment and let out a low growl. Then, the king. Next, do you want to occupy the city and swallow all the humans? With the technology we have now, it is absolutely okay. Replace it. I know what to do. Yi Bei glanced at the golden lion. The latter trembled and quickly backed away. Then Yi Bei continued, and then, our mission is divided into 3 stages. The first task is to gather all the beasts in this city and strengthen our army. Humans like pets, those dogs, cats, even lizards, snakes, birds, too many. The second task, in this process, all human beings who actively resist or who actively attack us will swallow them all. You are welcome. The third task, if there are human beings who stay calm and don't resist, everyone will control them all, find a place to take care of them, and let them all evolve after the evolution potion is finished. Yi Bei's voice is not very loud. But when these words were said, everything under the mental power domain was deeply imprinted in the mind of every mutant beast, and there would never be any unremembered situations. Immediately afterwards, Yi Bei continued to add, and beyond this, such people, if you encounter them, even if you resist, you can't cause any harm, grab them all, and wait for me to deal with them. Mental power coverage. When Yi Bei was a human in the past, all the familiar human appearances in his memory appeared in the minds of the mutant beasts. Yishan, Guyu, parents, relatives, friends, partners, company shareholders. Yes, King. I can't wait any longer. With a human personality, I will definitely resist frantically. Today I want to eat a lot. After receiving the information, the mutant beasts yelled in excitement. Yi Bei might not understand some of these tasks, but they just need to follow them. Very good. Follow me, everyone. Zizi. Yi Bei glanced at the Kijiaging beach full of death, without any emotion in his eyes. After saying this, his muscles slowly squirmed and moved towards the exit of the beach. Island country. In Donghai City, the entire fleet was destroyed, and there was no way to hide this. When it was determined that the mutant beasts arrived in the East China Sea of China, the Prime Minister of the island country immediately held a press conference. TV, street big screen, big video on news website homepage. Dear citizens, here is a very sad news to tell you that just an hour ago, our island nation's fleet was attacked by unknown forces and suffered heavy losses. This is a huge loss for our entire island nation. Here, on behalf of the island nation, I condemn the evil forces and promise that our island nation is absolutely not afraid of everything and will definitely make them pay a heavy price. When speaking, the body is directly bent into 90°, sincere, and angry. The people of the entire island nation were all in an uproar upon hearing such a news. Eye for eye. It must be the means of the Huaxia kingdom to retaliate back. No matter what force it is, it must pay a price. At this time, if you go to the streets of Tokyo, you can hear such shouts everywhere. As for the Prime Minister of the island country, after throwing the pot to the unknown forces, he immediately returned to the Prime Minister's mansion. The core high-level people of the entire island country are all waiting here. These high-level officials know the truth. Back to the Prime Minister's house, sat down in the dust. After seeing the Prime Minister, Owano stood up and said, "My Excellency Prime Minister, now there is an explanation to the outside world. Although the emotions of the people are very fierce, without exception, they will all target the target. This is for our island country. is the best opportunity for everyone to unite together. Although the mutant beasts have gone to the East China Sea, we must not just sit and wait for death. If possible, it is very necessary to be able to obtain the genes of those mutant beasts for research. Even if more than an hour passed, this guy still couldn't accept Owada's death. He tried his best to get revenge on the mutant beasts. It is necessary to go to China, and we have just obtained information that the mutant beasts landed at Chijiao port in the East China Sea and swallowed a large number of tourists. With the style of China, we will definitely strike. We have to wait for the opportunity. As the intelligence chief of the island nation, Kawashima wears a pair of gold glasses. When speaking, he stretched out his index finger and pushed. In other words, now the whole world already knows the news of the return of the mutant beast? The island prime minister frowned. It is true, and the United States betrayed us. After the East China Sea incident, we passed the information to them, but they deliberately leaked it to China. When Kawashima spoke, his tone was very calm, and there was no wave on his face. It is unrealistic to rely on other countries. The best way now is to send someone to China to see if we can get what we want. In addition, establish a safe base in our island country to prevent the invasion of mutant beasts. I agree with Kawashima's opinion. The island nation nodded first, but the cold light in his eyes continued. America. The White House, the office of the president, but the current president is no longer black, but a big man with blonde hair. This kind of thing happened after less than 3 months in office. Damn. The mutant beast group gathered in Donghai City, China. Although it has nothing to do with our country, we must not let them continue to develop. Sitting in the office, President Golden Retriever has a gloomy face. He was just a businessman before. Very little contact with such things. Even a few months ago, he severely scolded him for the appearance of the mutant beasts. However, when he truly became the President of the United States, he learned that the mutant beasts were secretly studied by the US government. After the creature, the whole world feels bad. Now we must consider the United States. The mutant beast group is too strong. The protective base must be built. It is best to control all the mutant beasts in the East and keep the flames of war there. After a long time, President Golden Retriever made up his mind, then picked up the phone on the table and directly dialed the personal number of the head of China, ready to come and talk in person. United Kingdom. Talk to Huaxia country immediately and tell them that this matter is related to the safety of all mankind. If they can't solve it, we will dispatch the army to help, and at the same time closely monitor the situation of the mutant beasts over there. The Queen of England called the Prime Minister directly. I clearly said before that I would not interfere in the country's government affairs, but this time, I took the initiative to break the silence. Obviously, the high levels in the Queen of England were burning with flames. France, Russia. When the news spread, the whole world, all countries with a little bit of strength, looked to the east. While fearing the mutant beasts, they all seemed to be staring at a piece of fat. China State. Dongyi. The entire Donghai city was in chaos. After receiving the news, those in power all took the fastest flight and evacuated the city, and then remotely controlled commands via telephone in other cities. Remember it. You are the public servants of the people. You must serve the people at all times. There is an accident in Kijiaging now, and those monsters are about to move toward the city. As city administrators, you have to take the responsibility to protect the whole. The responsibility of the city's image immediately leads people over and stops them all. At the urban management headquarters, a man in a suit turned pale when he received a call from his superior. Yes, sir. I know what to do. The man in the suit gritted his teeth and his voice was loud. Very well, Xiao Wang. This time, as long as you complete the task well and drive those things out of Donghai City, I will give you a great deed to ensure that the road will be smooth in the future and you will rise up. The voice over the phone was full of majesty. Sir, don't worry, leave everything to me. The man in the suit looked like he was fighting to the end. Very well, Xiao Wang, I am very optimistic about you. Pop, the phone hangs up. The man in a suit who had originally looked respectful and was called Xiao Wang suddenly changed his pale complexion. Shabi, you just ran away. Let me stay in Donghai City? Remember your merits. Remember your family? However, this time, we must confess to it. Maybe it's finished. The body trembled slightly. Xiao Wang quickly pressed the number and began to give orders to the city management team captains. Not to mention, after such a tossing, less than 5 minutes have passed. Donghai City has gathered 3,000 urban managements, driving a pickup truck and rushing towards the Qijiao port. It's just that these ordinary city administrators didn't notice that in today's brigade, anyone with a little bit of power did not appear. All the people who came were small fish and shrimps. Wow! Booming! Yi Bei led the way, and the nearly 90,000 mutant beast army quickly followed. Such vibrations resounded almost all the time. Just when Yi Bei was about to leave the Qijiaging beach with a group of mutant beasts, pickup trucks drove over here quickly. In each pickup truck, there were at least 5 city managers with batons. Brothers, everyone who dares to destroy the image of our Donghai City will be killed, robbed, burned. Everyone follow me. Rushing in the back seat of a pickup truck in the front, a man stood with a black baton in each hand, like a superhero. We must be ahead of the police. The driver of a pickup truck behind was also yelling. Donghai City is our territory. Anyone who comes in disorder will have to pay a price. The voice is extremely strong. Under the realm of spiritual power, Yi Bei observed all the movements of these city managers. To be honest, when he came to Qijiao port and let the mutant beasts swallow so many humans, Yi Bei had imagined many times what kind of power would come first. For the country, will you abandon this place? But he never dreamed that the first person to rush over turned out to be the city administrators in Donghai City. It really deserves to be standing on the front line unswervingly, always thinking of the people and claiming that the 3,000 urban management can conquer the superpower of the United States. This kind of reaction speed, this kind of momentum is really worthy of the top presence. Attention everyone, any human being in front of us, just swallow it. You are welcome. Chi. Yi Bei squinted and snorted while looking at the city managers. Wow. In front, a large number of pickup trucks gathered, and a famous city manager jumped out of the car and gathered together, making very handsome moves one by one, staring at the mutant beast army in front. Because they have been at the bottom for a long time, the information these people have access to is very limited. At least now they don't even realize how terrifying the mutant beast they are facing. The city manager standing in the front, with a hat slanted on his head, pushed with his hand, stretched out his baton, and pointed to the front. Damn it! There must be a freighter smuggling a lot of snakes and cats. The dogs and monkeys were transported to the beach of Qijiaging, which resulted in a leak. Everyone, pay attention. These snakes are poisonous, and these animals are all caught back. Whoever catches it counts. The voice was loud, and there was a greedy look in his eyes. Ha ha ha, I want to eat monkey brain. Snake stew is also good. This time the mission is good. Dog meat is delicious. Brothers, get ready. See one. Take one. The 3,000 city administrators stood together. Their voices were a little mixed, but there were still some words like this, which were clearly transmitted to Yi Bei. War. It's on the verge. At the exit of Qijiao port, there is a very spacious asphalt road. There are many small cars parked on the side of the road. All the tourists before. When the city management appeared, it directly blocked the other side of the street. Pong, pong, pong. The baton in his hand was pounding against the cars on both sides of the street with a crisp sound. About 200 meters away from them, at the front is Yi Bei, whose body is silvery white, and behind are countless mutant beasts. The sun is shining. A sea breeze blows from time to time on the sea. Both sides stopped. Such a scene, captured by a satellite that happened to pass by in the sky, immediately became one of the most influential pictures of this century, and it was full of shock for any human being to read it. Brothers, get ready to do it. As an excellent city manager, Zhu Baiqi raised the baton in his hand in this depressive atmosphere to break the silence first, shouting, "Click." At the same time as the voice fell, this guy stepped forward directly, rushing towards Yi Bei frantically. This kind of scene looks much more exciting than the black forces fighting. Roar. The golden lion standing next to Yi Bei roared. His eyes were very indifferent when he looked at Zhu Baiqi, who rushed over first. These human beings are really not afraid of death, even the most basic premonition of danger. 2 steps forward when speaking, it seems that as long as Yi Bei gives an order, he will immediately rush to eat. Golden Lion, this is not necessarily true. I think these humans are very courageous. Compared to those humans who only run away on the beach and sacrifice the same race, I don't know how much stronger it is. Chi. Wang Wen spit out the letter. His eyes were a little serious, and when he spoke, he was very serious. Yes, Wang Wen makes sense. Flower nodded in agreement. Autumn was meditating. However, I always feel that these humans are not good at IQ, and I don't realize that their physique is like ants compared to ours. In addition to them, many mutant beasts are also talking about it. Okay, those city administrators who were rushing toward the mutant beast group, after hearing these sounds, finally noticed the abnormality. Brothers, stop! It seemed like these animals were talking. After Zhu Baiqi rushed out more than 50 meters, he stopped. The crazy aura just now replaced all the doubts. No? Next to him, a female city manager frowned. It seems to be really speaking, but it is in English. I can understand a few words, but how is this possible? Wearing a uniform, in the urban management team, Li Erpeo, who has always been a sea turtle, stepped forward. Pushed the glasses, quite seriously. You are stupid. Can these animals speak? Just ask them. But then again, these guys are very similar to the movie trailer of the Sahara event. Zhu Baiqi looked at Li Erpeo, and then raised the baton in his hand again. With a look of Laozi's invincibility, he shouted at Yi Bei, "Hey, little white ribbon fish snake, were you talking just now? Just say a few words and see. If you were able to speak today, my buddy arrested you and handed it over to the country. Maybe you can still remember the first-class work." Zhu Baiqi's idea is perfect. But when he said this, he completely exposed his IQ, and he was really a pig idiot. Wang, this human evil pin. The golden lion couldn't help it at all. His mouth growled low, and his voice was very loud. The most incredible thing was that the golden lion spoke this time instead of English, but a hoarse Chinese language. It's incredible that this kind of IQ can multiply so much. Chi. Wang Wen also vomited the letter, his voice chilling. As for the city administrators, they didn't understand English just now, but now, after hearing such a clear Chinese language, they're arrogant, they instantly quieted down. The muscles on Zhu Baiqi's face trembled frantically, his eyes widened and his mouth wide open. Li Erpeo at the back took his glasses down, his throat melted. And those thousands of city administrators, at this moment, all are extremely silent. These animals actually speak? How is it possible? I must have heard it wrong. Damn. Hell, how could animals become fine after the founding of the People's Republic of China? Even if I read a little, I can't lie to me like this. Thousands of city administrators were completely confused. After a long period of stunned words, something like this slowly came out of his mouth. Chi. Everyone, get ready. These are the elites in the human world. Just rush over. Yi Bei was spitting out the letter, glanced at the group of city administrators that had been shocked, and then ordered the mutant beasts behind him.
Yes.
Yes, King. Kill. Tens of thousands of mutant beasts have been waiting for a long time. After hearing Yi Bei's order, the silent atmosphere was immediately broken, and they roared and rushed forward unceremoniously. The moment the teams on both sides came into contact, blood was immediately splashed. The other side. Huaxia Kingdom, in the office symbolizing the pinnacle of power. Li Zhonghua stood here with a serious face, and in front of him sat a majestic man who was the one who had participated in the Global Security Conference 3 times before. The chief, according to the latest information, the mutant beasts have arrived at Chijiao Port, Donghai City, and killed countless ordinary tourists on the beach. The most important thing is that they seem to march toward the city. Once they are allowed, it really spreads to the entire city, and we will completely fail. Chief, what should we do now? When speaking, Li Zhonghua's forehead was covered with cold sweat. Jingle bell. On the desk in this office, The phone kept ringing. All of them were foreign leaders. I just received several calls in a row. After hearing the words of the leaders of the countries, the man in the office chair looked ugly. This ugly face undoubtedly made Li Zhongguo more nervous. The chief, every minute and every second, there are people dying. We must find the best way to deal with it. If this continues, it will only increase the casualties. Li Zhongguo wiped the cold sweat from his forehead and continued. Call. Until this time, the majestic man in the seat took a deep breath and spoke slowly. It has been almost a year since the day the mutant beast appeared. He felt physically and mentally exhausted, but no matter what he exhausted, the method cannot cause any blow to the mutant beast group. I know. This matter is indeed very complicated, and you still do not understand the power of the mutant beasts. Let's go, Li Zhongguo. You directly call the high-level military, then I found several other gentlemen to have an emergency meeting. I also know the situation on the East China Sea, so wait and see. When I said this, it seemed that the whole person was getting older in an instant. Chijiao Port, exit, wide asphalt road. After receiving Yi Bei's order, the mutant beasts rushed into the city management team frantically. Same. This section of the road is also under the management of Chijiao Port. In the monitoring room, Xiao Fan, Qin Feng, and Zhou Xin locked the door tightly at the beginning, and the mutant beasts did not attack them. Only at this moment, the appearance of these three people is even uglier than death. Xiao Fan's complexion has begun to turn blue. His chest rises and falls violently, and he gasps for breath. Chun Feng's face was pale, and his clothes were soaked with sweat, as if he had just walked out of the sea. Zhou Xin's complexion turned purple, his eyes widened, all bloodshot. This is not a dream at all. All the tourists have been killed. No, they were eaten by these monsters. Through monitoring, you can even see the bright red blood stains on the ground. Even in this monitoring room, the exhaust you can get the smell of blood in your mouth. Xiao Fan's voice trembled. The city officials are here. The police and the army are definitely not far away. I'm going to look at them now, and we must kill all the monsters. Zhou Xian clenched his fists as he spoke. Which of you still has a preview video of the Sahara Desert incident? It is here now too. Open it and see. Chan Feng monitors. Countless terrible thoughts surfaced in his mind. I think, more than 3 months ago, the news that broke out on the internet are all true. Mutant beasts, living plants, all of them exist. Hiss. The sound fell, and in the security room, the three of them were sucking air conditioning frantically. Then the three of them stared at the surveillance video, while hurriedly searching for the information on the internet 3 months ago. Asphalt road. Wow. Mutant beasts, the action is too fast. When rushing past, many mutant beasts in order to swallow food faster. Every step they take, their bodies increase by 1 point. When they approach the urban management team, the mutant reticulated pythons are at least 10 meters long. Lions, tigers, wolves, all are beyond the scope of understanding. Click. Standing in the forefront, just now was extremely arrogant and kept showing off Zhu Baiqi, who had only remaining IQ, and swallowed the golden lion in one bite, without any power to struggle. With the death of Guanrong, the first city manager, the people behind finally reacted slightly. Come on, kill these monsters. Don't be afraid, everyone, kill them, everyone is a hero. What? Kill. The roar can be described as deafening and powerful. Hearing these voices, even Yi Bei felt very admired. But the real situation, in the eyes of Yi Bei, is more and more disappointed in humans. Unprecedented disappointment. Wow. Because when these city administrators were screaming and attacking frantically, one by one was frightened long ago, and their faces were pale. Under the threat of death, their bodies exploded with 1,000% strength, quickly turned around and ran away. Idiot, you were too slow. Get out of my way. Death in the way. Get out of it. Roll. This situation is more intense than the tourists who were on the beach before. When the real death comes, humans are absolutely selfish. After all, when facing interests, even biological parents can become enemies. When facing death, Betraying a friend and sending one's best partner to the brink of death personally is nothing more than a trivial matter. Listen well, everyone. This is your second delicious meal. All of these people must be spared. Since they have come to the human world, we must give them the greatest threat. Chi-Chi. Yi Bei's eyes were indifferent. Spouting the scarlet letter, when speaking, the letter was rolled and a man was rolled into his mouth in one bite. His muscles squirmed, and the human being turned into pure energy in the blink of an eye. Such a scene reminded him of his being framed to death by Yi Shan's design. Humans are really inferior to beasts in many cases. The voice very low. Yes, King.
Yes.
At this time, the most excited is the Golden Lion, Wang Wan and the others. As pure mutant beasts, from the beginning, they are full of great hostility towards humans, and being able to swallow humans unscrupulously is simply a great thing. Puff, puff. Bright red blood splattered. Click, click. Bone crushed. Puff. Some mutant beasts even chopped off human heads directly, making a popping sound. 100. 500. 1,000. The number of mutant beasts is far more than those of the city managers. When the two parties were in contact for an instant, less than 10 seconds, more than 1,000 city managers were swallowed, and this number was increasing at an incredible rate. 15 seconds later, all the city managers who rushed over were all dead, and there were no corpses left. Kijiaging, monitoring room. The dynamic pictures from 3 months ago were still not found. However, for the 3 security guards, these 15 seconds were as long as a century. Those people are all dead? Xiao Fan's lips turned white. When the mutant beasts swallowed tourists before, they were sleeping, and they didn't see it. But now it's different. The process of human death is clearly presented. All kinds of unthinkable and terrifying ways of death made him feel like he was in the end. Zhou Xian, you too, did you just see? The bodies of these monsters are all able to grow and shrink at will, and I seem to have heard them talking, speaking the language of our country of China. Is it a monster or a monster? Are all the monsters in Journey to the West real? Chen Feng said in horror. He had to say that he was very reasonable. The mutant beasts in front of him are really the same as the monsters. Wow. There was another churning in the security room. Finally, when the 3 of them were about to escape completely, Xiao Fan turned on the computer and found the complete propaganda video of the Sahara event, and without hesitation on the spot, he pressed the broadcaster. Special effects video playback specially processed by the film and television company. The silver-white little snake. A dense army of mutant beasts. Still able to speak. The 3 of them kept comparing this video with the surveillance video shot in front of them, and then, the sweat on their faces became more and more, and their bodies trembled more severely. 10 seconds later. Wow. All 3 of them had their legs weakened and crashed and fell to the ground. They already know part of the truth.
Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe.